Welcome everyone to the Nelsonville Media Company. I am Joe Higgins. With me today is Dr. Ian Butcher of several different ventures. We're going to get started and get into your background.
Sure.
We're here to talk about Doc's Gym today.
Okay.
It's your newest venture, and maybe one of your proudest.
Definitely.
We'll get into that, but let's let the fans know, the viewers know how we got to this point.
Okay.
So, tell me a little bit about your background. You're local.
Yeah, so I played basketball, Fed Hawk. I think that's probably where we met. You were doing your sports reporting back then. Always been an athlete. It's always been my thing. Wellness has always been my thing. Started here at OU, majored in chemistry, switched to physiology in my junior year. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. When you're a heavy science major, you're almost guaranteeing yourself for grad school to some level. I shadowed every doc in town, eye docs, ear docs, PTs, athletic trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, and couldn't really find
Just trying to find what you wanted to do.
I always thought I would go to the DO school here because my mom retired from there, but they weren't doing what I wanted to do. After talking to my mom, she says, all the stretching and strengthening and nutrition stuff that you talk about with me and your friends are not how our DOs treat anymore. She said, I don't think this is what you want to do. Of course, it was my mom, so I didn't listen. So I followed this track regardless, and so she thought it would be a good idea to set me with a mentor. And he and I talked about stretching and strengthening and training and nutrition, and he didn't have time to do that with his patients. And right before I get ready to start school, I recognized, man, maybe I don't want to do this. So I kind of freaked out. I shouted a bunch of people around town and met a chiropractor on accident, Aaron Ramsey. And I met him in a basketball tournament. And I approached him because he was a good player. You know what I mean? That's real. He was a good player. And he told me he was a sports doc and didn't really specify it was chiropractic. And went to go shadow his practice there, and people were limping in and walking out. And he's giving them stretching and strengthening, and they're talking about sleep quality and all these things that I think matter. And I said, well, maybe there's something to this. So I go home, I Googled the highest sports course in the country, and I said, I'm gonna go visit that school. So I kind of found chiropractic in a weird way. After spending a year there, I recognized that I felt good for the last year. My training was really, really good. And once I was able to get into, I'm a nerd, the nuts and bolts of what chiropractic actually does, I fell in love with it, man. So I did my schooling. I did my undergrad here at OU. I did my master's and doctorate in upstate New York at Northeast College of Health Sciences. When I went there, it was called New York Chiropractic College. They've always had more than chiropractic there. They have anatomy instruction. They've got Eastern medicine doctorates there. Of course, they've got the nutrition stuff there. But so they rebranded to fit all of that. So I finished up there. I did a master's in applied clinical nutrition there too. After school, I joined a group in the Cleveland area. We worked with a lot of athletes. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't home. Even though we were going to Cavs games weekly and stuff like that, and I loved that, it wasn't home, man. I couldn't wait to get back home. So in 2016, I came back here and opened an office just down the street from here. So, yeah, that's kind of how things have started.
So Athens Advanced Chiropractic is born.
Yep.
You mentioned finding chiropractic, and that's what you gravitated to.
Sure.
You were always into physical fitness.
Oh, absolutely.
Was that part of why it appealed to you?
So with chiropractic, probably kind of the one of the struggles of chiropractic, but also one of the really cool benefits is our scope of practice is so broad. And so the description of chiropractic is very broad. So your experience here versus down the street might be very, very different. But we all kind of focus on the body as a whole and the functionality of the body and using the tools that are already there to improve the function of the body versus adding something new from outside to improve the function of the body. And so I was kind of just drawn to that, using the tools that are already there. And so to me, the big picture items that really move the needle on health are things that we already know that works. Movement, basic nutrition, hydration, getting some sunlight, getting some movement, managing stress. I think that's, if we really focus on those big picture items, everything works better. And so that's what's kind of drawn me to chiropractic. And then that kind of just goes in hand with the nutrition. So if you're already doing this, let's add this component. And so when you start pairing those things together, it makes a big difference, man.
So you were already doing chiropractic, and you decided to add another component yourself in Butcher's Bites. How did that come about?
When I finished the nutrition masters, it was just basically to help with competitive athletes. So I was working with a lot of bodybuilders and powerlifters at that time. and then it kind of evolved into moms and dads. And so I found that, in this area, I don't have a ton of elite athletes to work with, but I have busy moms and dads that have the same kind of issue. So maybe a dad playing a rec league basketball, or a father-son riding motocross together. And so there were still athletes I could work with. It just wasn't what I was used to before. So I started writing all these diets, and we found the food itself was the biggest barrier. And so people either maybe were a student and didn't have a car, or couldn't grocery shop for themselves, or maybe they were widowed and cooking for themselves was hard, or maybe they're just busy moms and dads that didn't have time to cook nutritious meals. So kind of out of the inception, we thought it would be mostly like athletes. And so we got really specific with the macros and hand selecting nutrients for different reasons. And we found that a lot of busy moms and dads didn't care. They knew that it was the same price as McDonald's or whatever fast food, but it was really good quality stuff. And so that's how that kind of evolved. And of course, we're able to get on with OU athletics a little bit there too, and that's been a lot of fun, man. I've watched more college basketball in the last couple of years than I have even back when I was in college, man. Once you start to create relationships with some of those athletes and then you fall and they go somewhere else, you basketball math it. So like when Ben Vanderplas left OU and went to Virginia, I knew how he stacked against our guys. So when I saw him play against Kentucky or whatever, I could see how our guys stacked up against Kentucky. Same thing with like Marcus Sears when he went to Alabama. You know what I mean? You follow these guys, and now I'm watching all these different teams. With the portal now, you guys move every year. So now I've got all this college basketball to watch. It's been a blast, man. It's been so much fun.
But the relationship part's a huge part of what you're talking about with, as we'll get to Doc's Gym, but for the chiropractic and for the nutrition is getting to know these people and what their needs are.
Absolutely, man. Well, and I think that's the part with not only the gym, but the nutrition is, people appreciate my chiropractic eye. And so a lot of times people will come in to the gym or even here, and they'll say stuff like, well, I don't want to squat, it bothers my knees. And I'll say, yeah, but you have grandkids, are you interested in picking them up? Oh, yeah, we should probably learn how to do that squat. Or, I don't want to deadlift because it hurts my back. And I'll say, well, you're interested in, getting down to that bottom shelf there and sitting on the toilet or all these things. Like, oh, yeah, I need to be able to do that. So I think people appreciate having my chiropractic eye to help them figure out what movement's right for me.
Yeah.
People will come in and...
That connection.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, because I ask people about their hobbies, and I think people think I just care about their day and what they're doing, and I do. But when they're telling about their day and how they're actually spending their time, they're telling about how they're getting injured.
The function.
Yeah, for sure. So when they come in, they say, oh man, I've been really active this week. I'm going really hard. And then I'll say, well, what are you watching on TV? And they'll say, I watched, 20 episodes of Game of Thrones.
Which means they're sitting there for a few hours.
Yeah, you're probably seen it a little bit. So if I can learn a bit about people's habits and hobbies and how they're actually spend their time, I think that's where we really make the lasting changes.
So chiropractic's going, the nutrition's going, and that's going for several years, and you're enjoying it, but there was something, a dream still in the back of your mind.
So I've always wanted to do the gym thing. I think anyone who's ever trained for more than a few years has always thought about, what it would look like if I had mine,
Right.
So to be honest with you, I've had this business plan for 19 years.
Yeah.
I've revised it over and over again over the years. It's something I want to do for a long time. I've had that business license for over 10 years. I've had the domain name for like 8. So it's something I knew I was going to do eventually. We've been looking at properties for probably 5 or 6 years and just never really found a good fit. And then just down the street here ended up working out perfectly, man.
Yeah.
So I was telling the guy I bought it from, I can remember when I was a kid, this was a car dealership.
Right.
He said, well, I bought my first car here. And so it's been really cool. It's nice having everything all kind of in one concise location. For our Butcher's Bite stuff, we use a kitchen across the street here at AceNet.
Yep.
We're able to just lease the space that we need. So everything we do here is
it's right here on
Columbus
Road.
Yeah, I don't go far at all, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about Doc's Gym.
Sure.
How did it finally come to be? You said that there was an available site, but you still got to pull the trigger.
Sure.
You still got to get all the equipment in there. You got to design it. You got to do all the things. What was the impetus? What's your why on why you pulled the trigger when you did?
So I want to show people my version of fitness. No matter which gym you go to, you're getting that owner's version of fitness. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all for fitness. I want to show people what I like about this. And what I like about this is keeping it fun. I think that's a component that people really neglect is it should be enjoyable. Any program you're forcing, you won't stick to. There's no longevity in that. If I can keep it fun for people, I think that's how you really see the benefits. So my version of fitness is building strength and muscle. I think a lot of the metabolic benefits that people are looking for as far as keeping good metabolic health is rooted in muscle. That's the main driver for metabolic function. I think a lot of the health span, lifespan benefits that people are looking for are is rooted in strength, which is muscle. And then the aesthetic part. I think the part that people are looking for, they'll say, I want to tone up. Well, that's muscle. Mm-hmm. They'll say, hey, can you see how her dress hangs on her back? I said, well, that's muscle. And so showing people how to pursue muscle in a way it's fun and sustainable, I think is kind of my version. Some other versions, CrossFit's great for folks. If you want the group community, you're the 5 o'clock group, you miss a couple of days, your buddies are calling you, that's your version. I've just never been a run in place kind of guy, so the treadmill's not for me. Mm-hmm. So we don't have any treadmills. Mm-hmm. There's benefit there, of course, but that's just never been my brand of fitness. I've had a hard time dealing with the concept of paying someone for a place to walk and run. Yeah. To me, walking and running on earth is free. Sure. So I would much rather go outside and get on the bike path, or chase my dogs around, or split firewood, or weed eat. I got a lot of mowing at my place. I like that kind of movement. To me, running in places is not my brand of fitness. So some people need that, and that's fine. But I'm about pursuing muscle and strength. Sure. Man, that's what I really want to do.
So tell me about the environment, the culture that you've been able to create at Doc's Gym. What's it like? If no one's walked in there yet, and we hope everybody does, go check it out from this. Because sidebar, it's not for just bodybuilders or just for people who are trying to become look like you or whatever it might be. It's for everybody because I think there's a misconception out there of, I don't want to lift too much because I want to look like the huge bodybuilder guy. Sure. But that's a lifelong journey. That's something that takes specific diets and exercise to do show type body. So this can be for anybody.
Oh, no, absolutely. This is for everybody. In fact, most of the people I train are over 60, and most of them are women. And saying you don't want to be a bodybuilder is like saying, I'm going to stop driving my car because I don't want to race NASCAR.
Right.
The likelihood of you getting there, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen on accident. You know what I mean? It's something that people pursue with intent for years and years and years and years. No, this is something that anyone who's interested in getting stronger, I think that should always be our goal. Mm-hmm. Every year after 30 years old that we're not actively pursuing muscle, we're likely giving some up. It's not that we're not able to retain that muscle. In fact, they've done research with groups as old as 90 years old. Have run participants through strength training programs at 90 years old, and they're growing new tissue. So obviously it's not as easy as it was when we were 18, but we can all still do it. And to me, that's the difference in health span, lifespan. Every person that's over 85 years old that drives themselves into the office, I always try to schedule a little extra time for them. Because I got questions for you. Yeah. How'd you get here? Why are you still in such good shape? Why is your mind so fresh? Yeah. And what I found, the biggest common denominators are they're eating real food, they're moving, and they're managing stress well. In our region of the world, that's not CrossFit and prep meals. It's chasing down clouds and climbing on top of wells and fixing fence line. But those farmers are eating real food and they're moving. And I think now with the way that we live and work, we can't all be farmers. Mm-hmm. So if you're seated for 10 hours a day or whatever, it might make sense to block off an hour to move with the same kind of intent. It's kind of unnatural to go to a gym and pick things up and put them down for no reason. We've never had to do that in history. Right. But we've never been seated for 10 hours a day either. Sure. So to me, it just makes sense to block off 30 to 60 minutes just to move most days of the week. It doesn't have to be every day, but at least 4 days a week I think is ideal for most people. So I sidetracked my own question there, but I want to come back to the original. Tell me about the culture. What does it feel like to walk through those doors and to become part of Doc's Gym? You're supported. In most gyms now, people have their headphones on, they look down, they don't talk to each other. Yeah. People greet you, they're rooting for you. I walked in there the other day and there was an older lady there training with Tara, and she's going for a PR on a shoulder press, and she's got 3 more reps, and there were dudes in the back clapping for her. You know what I mean? Like, come on, 2 more. And when people are cheering for you, man, it makes you want more. Yeah. I walked in the other day, there's a heavily muscled woman showing a high school running back how to squat correctly. Nice. You know what I mean? And so it's been, our goals aren't the same, but people legitimately care about your goals. I've got marathoners over there and ultra marathoners and jiu-jitsu guys and pro motocross guys and high school football players. And I've got all these different folks who care about each other's training, and they don't have the same goals. In fact, there's only, out of all of our members, maybe 5 bodybuilders, maybe 2 or 3 powerlifters. But everyone uniquely cares about each other's goals, and they root for each other, they interact with each other. They're creating relationships with their businesses and stuff. So there's folks over there who maybe have like landscaping companies. Hey man, I saw you do landscaping. Do you have a card? And so it's been really cool to have a social outlet. I think a lot of young folks now are choosing not to drink and go to bars and that kind of stuff, and so they need a social outlet. And so for those young folks, it's funny because they get dressed up in their new gym gear and they treat it like a social event. They come in, they interact with their friends, and there are lots of times where we'll come in or we'll see on the cameras that kids will sit there for a half an hour before their workout, just communicating and drinking the pre-workouts and talking about their new training split, or they got a new protein supplement, and that's been really cool. That's been really fun, man. I really enjoy it. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you wanted to show people your way.
Sure.
How's it going? Is it working? Is it doing what you wanted to do? Has it been the dream come true you thought it would be?
In fact, to some degree, it's made it harder for me to go to my other jobs because I want to be there. So on Mondays, we do all of our prep work at Butcher's Bites over here at AceNet. And I was running out some recycling the other day, and I probably had 3 more hours of dishes left to do. And the gym parking lot's full. And I'm like, oh man, I just kind of want to go over there. And of course, got to finish out the day. But it's made it a little harder to go to my other jobs. I want to be there. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun.
So tell me about the logistics. How does a gym work? Do you favor monthly membership, daily memberships? What's the price packages like?
So we use a system called Gym Master, and most new gyms use that now. It's a gym operating system that's made it really easy for gyms to exist now. We don't need as many employees now. So everything's automated. So the doors unlock themselves at 5 a.m., relock at 11 p.m. You can pay all your membership there. You can do daily, monthly, you can do punch cards, we can do an annual there. You can buy Butcher's Bites through our app. And so we put extra meals there in that cooler, and so people will add a meal as their way out. Nice. You can do waters and pre-workouts and all of our merch and stuff through that. And so now having that operating system that connects to all of our cameras, it's just really easy. So I don't have to be there, but I want to be there. I want to be there. So we do, it's like $50 a month for, that's probably the most common one, and people can do $500 for the year. It's a little discounted that way. Day passes are $15 a day. Pretty basic stuff. Yeah,
okay.
Basic stuff.
So you mentioned Tara a little earlier. That's your wife and your business partner.
Yeah.
And the two of you also offer training.
Yeah. So that's something I didn't know I was going to do. But I love it. And so people were like, well, I'm looking for a trainer, but I want someone who knows about my back. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'll schedule you. Let's do a couple sessions. And then I started to fall in love with it. And so initially it kind of started really with 1 or 2 folks. I have a lady that comes in. We've been training together for over a year now. She's doing awesome. Her goal initially was, I do a lot of meditation. I want my back to be strong enough to meditate. That way I'm not slouching. Unless it calls for that. And so we sent her away to a silent retreat. She's there for a month. She said, I felt strong the whole time. Now my goals are evolving. I want to do this now. I want to do this. And so the goal was kind of evolved. Most recently, this is probably 3 months ago, she said, hey, my husband weighs 200 pounds. I want to be able to deadlift 200 pounds. At almost 70 years old. I said, okay, well, here we go. So we've been training for this thing for probably a month, and she shows me her phone. She said, check this out. It's her Instagram. She scrolls through it. It's knitting, bodybuilding, and powerlifting. I said, what a weird combination.
A great algorithm.
Right. And her goal was kind of just evolve. And last month we did a squat bench dead day, which is an opportunity for people to come in and really get a supporting environment with loaders and spotters who know what they're doing, so you can really test your 1 rep max. And she came in and hit her goal of 200 pounds deadlift. And so she was joking that if I ever got to beat my husband up, she might drag him in the house, something like that, if it's some kind of danger. But I didn't want her to stop there. So I said, so what happens if I pass out and I need your help? She said, oh, okay, well then I guess the goal's got to go a little higher. So we're always kind of moving the finish line here but it's been really fun because people know that's her goal. And so like when she's deadlifting, like people hang around and they cheer for her. And the other component we added recently was there's a unit of, I guess, an estimation to health span to lifespan, how long you might live healthy. And grip strength is a big part of that. And so she wanted to test her grip strength. And so we started doing dead hangs. We just hang from bar, just hang.
Yeah.
Elite is considered 2 minutes. If you can get to a minute, that's awesome. So at 70, she does, or 67, 68 years old, she does a minute and 15 or minute 19, something like that. And so I haven't even tried this yet. And I'm like, oh, I got this. If she got that, I got 2 minutes easy. It's hard, man. So next thing you know, everybody in the gym's trying it. And like, well, let me try it. So we're timing everybody. And so then we started a little like group challenge. And now people go in there every day and update their time. And so we got this tally where people are adding time to their total. And it's been so much fun. So we may try to keep doing things like that. There's one there for farmers carry. There's a bunch of these kind of like challenges there. Yeah. I think it'll be fun. To push each other in like a competitive but safe way. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with being a little competitive with your training partners. You know what I mean? In fact, my favorite day of the week to train is Sunday mornings. And I got a group of guys that are like intermediate to advanced lifters, where we can get a little competitive with each other, and it's so much fun. When you're doing a squat and you're getting tired, you've got two big guys leaning over you. Come on, man, two more. You chase two more, man.
Sure.
And it's a really contagious environment where you can feel the optimism in the air. Every gym that I've ever really loved, there's something intangible there. You can't find it on the reviews. You don't see it in the videos. You can't see it in the equipment. It's not about the price or location. There's something there that's an intangible that it makes you want to go harder. And I've been to a bunch of gyms like that, but I think it's the people that create that environment, kind of curate that and foster it. Most of those gyms too also celebrate the wins of the patrons, and so those gyms end up getting the walls covered in gym lore. So and so did their first ultra marathon. We're getting a photo put on the wall.
Right.
You win your first bodybuilding show. We're getting a photo put it on the wall. I want to document the wins of the patrons. That is like, I don't know. It's encouraging, man.
Yeah.
That's something we've already started doing. We've got several photos already. It's been a blast. It's been a blast.
What would you say has maybe been one of the more surprising things that you've seen or felt in owning the gym?
Old folks wanted to get strong. And so I didn't know that they wanted that. But I think now, especially after COVID, people recognize that health is something we think about all the time. And to age gracefully and to be able to live alone and care for yourself and ambulate around your house is your strength. And so getting that population in, I didn't know I liked that, to be honest with you, Joe. But it's been a blast. I even got my aunts and uncles in there who are 80 years old, my parents in there, my dad's in there 3 days a week at 5 a.m. He made a comment, this is probably 2 months ago, after just 4 months of training. He's always been fit, but fit from being active for work. He's never weight trained. And so we're out to dinner, he goes, man, I got all that weight eating done, I went all the way through, straight through. I didn't get tired at all. I said, you've been weight training? He said, oh yeah. So like getting people to recognize that it lends to real life and not just in the gym.
Yeah.
In fact, lots of times I try to reframe it in a perspective-wise so it is real life. So I had an older lady there, we were doing step-ups. And so we're stepping up on this box and she's doing just fine, her balance is looking good, working on her balance, and I handed her an 8-pound dumbbell. I said, here's the milk. She said, oh, okay, yeah, I'm carrying groceries. I said, are you taking 2 trips? No, I'm taking 1 trip. Okay, well, let me take the other one. This is the rest of your bags. And so we're showing them how it lends to real life. I think people, once you can frame it in that way, like, oh yeah, I do need this. I think that kind of makes people turn a corner too.
Yeah.
So.
That's excellent.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So how can people get involved? Do they just come to the gym?
So you can jump on docsgymathens.com. Docs Gym Athens on Instagram. We also have Facebook. If you have any questions, you can find us there. But the app, Gym Master, pretty much takes care of it all. You could pull up Gym Master. It'll show you all the Gym Master gyms in the region. There are several. You can add Docs Gym there. You can pay for your membership there. You'll just use that app to get to the door. It's like a Bluetooth thing. It's really straightforward, man. But if you have any questions, of course, you can message us there. On Instagram or Facebook, or our emails on our website there too. But all of those things work.
All right, I think we're ready for a tour.
Cool, let's do it.
All right, very good.
So in here we have our pro shop. This is where we have all of our merch, meals, and that kind of deal. Eventually, every professional athlete I've worked with will get a photo here. We've already got several of those. So the pro shop will have all the pro photos. It'll be kind of neat. We've been calling this area the showroom. So back when it was a car dealership, I don't know if that's what they called it, but that's what we've been calling this, is the showroom. We've got a cool mix of old stuff and new stuff. The cool thing about the new stuff, it's got all the bells and whistles. The cool thing about the old stuff is it doesn't break. So just like grandma's 40-year-old refrigerator, they were built to last. Where now things, they want you to service them, they want you to replace parts, and so some of the newer stuff, just not as robust. So like some of these older things are actually made out of bulletproof material. This is Kevlar. So those things are great. Every gym owner wants those types of old school things. Our mascot here is my dog, Carlita. Every gym that I've ever really liked has had some kind of mascot. And I was playing around with the idea of tigers and lions and all these really mean looking animals. But I was talking about her every day. So I ended up working with a designer out of Houston who I met in a gym in Lancaster like 15 years ago. And all he does is fitness branding. And so when I reach out to this big deal guy, do you do any like mom and pop shop logos? He's like, I love gym logos. And so he helped me put that together. We've got some newer stuff here. So it's a converging shoulder press. These are difficult to find. Probably not going to find one of these anywhere else. I've got my Mount Rushmore of bodybuilding up here. Doesn't mean anything else to anyone else but me probably. But this is my Michael Jordan. This is my guy who kind of, I don't know, got me started with bodybuilding just because of his work ethic, and he was kind to everybody, and he was just like personable and likable. Just, I don't know, when I met him, he was just the best guy. We've got a bunch of dumbbells here. We got them to a hundo. We've got a plan to make them up to 150 though. We've got some bigger folks who want to do some heavier rowing. So we'll probably end up doing this to about 150 pounds eventually. We've got a bunch of different attachments here for the 5-stack. Those are always changing too. So as we find ones that we think we need, we usually get rid of one and add a couple more. A couple old school bulletproof machines here, a couple different chest machines here. Got some preloaded bars. In this room, we've got a little like a flexibility room. We also do some posing coaching here too for the bodybuilders who come in town. We got folks who come as far as like Morgantown to come up to do some posing, so that's been a lot of fun too. Got another set of lockers here and a spin bike for folks who want to do the spin. About here is where all the magic is. This is our old school stuff. We've got our more robust pieces out here. Hack squat. Got some stuff that no one's going to see here. Got a linear bearing row, which is pretty cool. We've got garage doors here to let some natural air in, some natural light in. We've got a bunch of flags on the wall. Of course, I got all the Ohio teams. I'm a big Browns fan, Cleveland everything fan. Had to keep the Bengals one up there though, just in case Joey B wants to stop in and sign something for us, you know. Of course, we're going to represent the OU fans here, no doubt about that. We've got a classic Pro Comp style bench. This bench press has actually seen a 1,000-pound bench already. I've got a cousin who's a 3-time world record holder who came in for our opening day, so I had to put it in front of the logo because of course that photo is going to be awesome. Just to show people what a 1,000-pound bench looks like. He's going to compete again in November. I think he's shooting for a 3,000-pound total. He hasn't said that yet, but I think that's what he's shooting for. So it's kind of the outside garage area here. We call this the garage. So back when it was a car dealership, they used to service vehicles here. So it's a pretty cool little area out here. If you guys want to come see us, come check us out here at 93 Columbus Road. You can find us at docsgymathens.com, docsgymathens on Instagram and Facebook. If you have any questions, shoot us a message. Looking forward to meeting you.